was just this morning, Tom. We got a call. We've had 8 active incidents in the last month. And consequently, this actually is number 8, and there's no, stars aligned here. This is just the way the world is working right now. We got a call from a company. Hey, we have some sort of malware. We have some systems compromised. Can you help us? Right? We were their first call. They didn't have one of these plans. What is an incident response plan? We've heard of these tabletop exercises. You've done them. We've done them. We put a fishbowl in the middle of the table with 20 tear-offs. We pull one out, and it says, Tom just got an email that all of the computers in the maintenance shop are locked up with a Bitcoin, announcement on it. What do you do? And it's really a fascinating thing to see a mature organization that has this nailed down versus one that doesn't, and the gap that exists between the two. What is an incident response plan? Why do we need one? Most importantly, to keep our business prosperous, but mainly to solve the FTC safeguard rule. What does it look like? How long is it? What does it even do for us?
Very good. Yeah. So, earlier we talked about our risk assessment, and we've said we're going to figure out what bad things could happen. Well, we've done everything we could, and the bad thing happened anyway. Now what do we do?
Right.
Now what do we do? So that's what this is all about. As your graphic points out, it's a methodical approach to the bad thing happening. So we prepare. We then, how do we identify? So this is a big one, right? If we've done our risk assessment right, we've said, okay, say we could get ransomware or malware or something like that. How do we prevent it from infecting our entire network? How do we isolate it? How much money and time are we willing to spend to contain that? Hopefully you've identified that and you've identified controls. Now, you may have said it's too much money, we're going to take the risk. What happens then? So, all of this, it's interesting because you look at these 9 things and then they all come around in a circle. They start at A and end at Z. But the biggest thing about incident response plans, I always say, is the first thing you're going to do is, what do your people do to stop the damage? And then B, who are you going to call first? So like you said, they called you. Probably not a bad idea. I always tell people the first call should be to your lawyer, but that's beside the point. But do you have a plan? And then you talked about tabletop exercises. Okay, we got this plan. Too many times it becomes a piece of paper or a document in a file share that no one reads. What's good of having it if no? I remember I used to be a paramedic in Hartford, Connecticut, and Hartford, Connecticut had a evacuation plan. The book was literally that thick.
Wow.
Could you evacuate Hartford following the plan? Maybe.
Yeah.
But no one ever, it was like, we have to do this. It's a requirement. We did it. It went on a shelf. Nobody ever really looked at it ever again.
Sure.
We don't want our incident response plan to be that. We don't want it too long. What an incident response plan should be is at the highest level, it should be these steps that you have listed there. Then we can break it out into what we call playbooks or runbooks. So this is just a general, if something bad happens, here are the things we do. If that bad thing is ransomware, here's another process flow and document we follow. If it's a business email compromise, here's a different one. We don't want that all jammed into one document. We want the document to be simple. Here's the people we call. Here's the first things we do. For example, in a ransomware, the absolute first thing you should do is do not shut the system down, but take it off the network. Yep. If it's physically cabled, just unplug the cable.
Literally. Yeah.
But that's the operational side. What about the business? What does the business do? And that's where these things fall short, is they throw it on IT and they say, oh, this is your guys' problem. No, right. This is your business. This could be an extortion. This could be, what are you going to do from a business level about it? Should all be part of this plan.
So let me ask a question, because this is something that sometimes we've heard at Catalyst, and maybe you've heard it in your travels. We have cyber insurance for this kind of thing. Why do I need a plan? What do you say to people that say that to you?
So first of all, even if cyber insurance is going to cover it, there is going to be loss that you will not recover. There's going to be reputational loss, first off. There's also going to be downtime loss that you may or may not recover. But the bottom line is how much of that time before you're underwater and you can't sustain the business. I mean, but then on top of that, the cyber insurance people are not in business to lose money.
Right.
So, what's becoming more and more commonplace is basically they have outs in their riders that say, if you aren't doing reasonable security, then we don't have to cover this.
We're not paying, right? Yeah.
Right. And they're more than happy to let you get the policy and pay them and not validate those controls, because then they're only getting paid and they're never going to have to pay out on that because you're not doing what you're supposed to.
Yes.
So, it's funny because those security questionnaires we talked about, a lot of people in businesses don't always answer those in the most exact ways.
That's right.
What I tell people all the time is, you want to answer your cybersecurity or insurance questionnaire exactly, because if you don't, it's a worthless piece of paper, because they will find it in their
bowels of
and,
systems,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
And then they'll just invalidate your policy. So why even have it? If you cannot, I think it's just foolish to believe that the cyber insurance is going to save you, like a safety net. It's just not. And even if it does, it's a one-time thing, because you're going to have trouble getting cyber insurance after that.
Great. Well, I appreciate that. I think a lot of folks see this as a more mature thing. I loved your comment about parsing it out, having an umbrella and a framework, and then the 7 or 8 things that we typically define of, if X happens or if Y happens, here's the run book or the playbook to handle it.